What do you know? It's your boy CO. Clyde the Voice is what they call me. Do we got things to talk about tonight? Trades that didn't happen, free agents that didn't come, and we're still signing some. But before we jump into all that, Sammy, start me up, please.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And as you know, we are officially live for the foreseeable future. So let's go ahead and bang this before we bring in our boy Pat. Patrick, please enter. How you doing, Bubba?
Good.
All right. Well, before we start, like always, please like, subscribe, follow on all the things: YouTube, the X, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you for last week. Last week's show reached well over 100,000 viewers, and we got brand new followers on Facebook, but no new subs on the tube that is you. Go to the tube that is you and subscribe. And you can also follow us on the X at, find me at Colts Clyde, find him at
Big P Colts.
still the worst.
I don't get it, man. I'm sorry. I don't see how you can say it's the worst. No.
Oh, that's like, it looks all shiny and shit in the fucking.
Well.
All right. Okay. Well, look, man, we're not going to waste no time. We live. I'm sure you guys can't wait to talk about this. So I'm not even going to ask the silly question about how do you feel. Things like this seemingly have been the Colts story here for the last, I don't know, decade. Peyton left about a decade ago. Listen, man. This is no knock to anybody that is doing what they love to do and actually are in certain circles or certain rooms that, hey, maybe even we're not in. But Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, people like that get paid to do things that they do for a reason.
And get paid extremely well.
Extremely well. So we were bamboozled over the last 4 days or so. I guess you can really kind of weed out yesterday. Yesterday pretty much made it official that as we sit at the moment, there's nothing happening with L'Jarius Sneed and the Colts. But we were made to believe over the weekend that, I mean, it was imminent. Like, we were just waiting on breaking news. We were waiting on Bleacher Report update, ESPN update, wherever you follow and get your sports news. We were just waiting on Colts sign L'Jarius Sneed to X amount of years for X amount of money. Oh my God, the cornerback room is 10 times better, and we are still not there. So, Patrick, how and what the F? So, I just said I won't ask you how you feel about the trade, but I'm going to ask you, in your heart of hearts, was any of this ever real?
I believed it to be real, but then when Adam Schefter come out and said there was zero talk between the Chiefs and the Colts about Sneed, I mean, it just kind of broke my heart.
Zero, man.
Zero communication.
What?
And then I started thinking about the illustrious words of D. Trump. Fake news. So that's where I stand now is I'm definitely going to have to vet who I pay attention to on Twitter and everywhere else a little bit tighter, because I'm not going to blast nobody's names or anything like that. But there's one guy a few years ago guaranteed us was getting OBJ. It didn't even, again, his sources told him that, and I don't know about who has sources, who don't have sources, and I'm not going to play that game with anybody, but that should have been a red flag. This is definitely over the top red flag. If somebody is out there making these claims that they've got these sources and they know the inside workings of this deal and that deal, hey, take it with a grain of salt, or you're going to get your heart crushed like mine was.
All right, man. Listen. Here's the deal. Here is the damn deal. The first thing we had to think about was our GM outside of his own self? Okay. Because ultimately, we know him to be very, very, very conservative. Okay. Now,
just a little bit, not very, very.
Okay. Very. One very.
That was a joke.
So what it came out to become that honestly, the Colts were maybe in on one like big name. So some sources said
Hunter.
It was either Hunter or Sneed. Never both. That's number one. And then I guess maybe because Hunter was, throwing a gigantic ticket from the Texans, gears shifted to, well, now it's Sneed. And I won't say that this was just a propaganda. Somebody just made it up. But whatever source was sourcing, apparently was sourcing and surfing somewhere else. So I say all that to say, the other part of that was from that same person that said either or. It was we were in on one of those guys, or we were basically going to do exactly what we've seen, which goes back to the irony that we talked about last week. This is the most money Chris Ballard has ever spent, and it's all in-house, to include today. We signed Taven Bryan. We signed Pinter back. I mean,
I think he got 1 year, didn't he?
Yeah, both of them got 1 year. But to this moment, right now, we have currently only brought in one guy, and that's the big boy.
From Miami.
Yeah, big boy. What's his last name?
Davis.
Yeah. That's the only guy that's outside of the house. But if you're counting, we've signed like 9 guys back, 8 or 9 guys back.
Yeah. Last I seen was over 200 million.
I mean,
that went out.
You can count all them bucks. But so this is my thing. This is my thing.
God, whenever you do that laugh, I know it's going to be good.
People cannot call him cheap because of the 200 million. People can still call him limited because of who he signed, which is his guys. But it still puts us at this conundrum where is this team better? Now, I know we discussed that last week, and we kind of discussed it to nauseum. But as you constantly see, we literally are signing the same guys back. So I don't really know if anything is changing.
I had our statistician, Adam J.
Yep.
I called on him last week about who won free agency, and he found
Flacco.
Yeah, we did Flacco. He found there was a 4-team tie last year that won free agency. Because if you remember right, I was making the claim that just because you win free agency doesn't make you Super Bowl champions. If you remember that conversation.
I do.
Well, he looked it up. The 4 teams that won free agency that tied last year alone: the Jets, the Bears, the Texans, and the Lions. Okay. Jets did nothing. Bears did nothing. Texans made it to the playoff on a fluke. Should have been us. The Lions were actually the only contending team out of those 4 that supposedly won free agency. So did it prove 100% my point? No, but it proved enough to keep going back and looking at the teams that they claim won free agency that ends up doing nothing. So all this just to say, I know you're ready. I know you're ready. But all that just to say, come on.
Okay.
Trust the process. Trust the guys that we have in place.
Fine. That's neither here or there. I don't even care about winning free agency. We really needed one big name. Was L'Jarius Sneed not worth throwing the house at? I don't like when we try to get into like saying what a person is worth. That fucking makes me nuts.
Yeah,
But
because
I'm saying,
everybody has their own opinion on
yeah,
worth.
like and if I've never played cornerback in the damn NFL, I don't know what that's worth. It's the hardest position to play, period.
Yeah.
So yeah, throw the house at them.
Everybody we've got at this point is extremely young. Now they're very talented, but they're very young. And as everybody has seen in this game, coming from college to NFL, there is a giant step that you have to make athletically. Not to say that they're not good, not to say that they can't compete, not to say they can't do the damn job, but these young guys that we have you are not going to call them reliable for another year, maybe two, just to give them more time under the belt. And that's what I'm looking at. And to answer your question, I believe I called Sneed unreliable. He makes gigantic plays. He absolutely does.
Unreliable?
But from what I've seen, he also lets shit go by him.
Come on.
Now, this is just my perspective. I don't have stats in front of me. I have not researched every play. This is just from the little bit that I have got to catch from here and there.
Bro,
and that's what I've taken. But I'm not saying I wouldn't throw big money at him because we need that veteran presence in that position. Absolutely.
But I'm saying so Adam J is talking about like, how I guess positive are we that he would be good in his scheme? Like to me, he's the ultimate zone corner. I think he's a better zone corner than man corner. Now he's a little bit physical. I get it. In their scheme out in Kansas City, they blitz, brought a lot of pressure. So yes, they got to hold up pretty well. But I think that he is a solid zone corner as well. And I think that he probably would grade higher there just because he's not the fastest corner.
Well,
he's not the quickest.
And the thing is, knowing how much football that you watch, I'll absolutely take your word on that. And I'm not claiming to be the Sneed whisperer and know everything about this man, and just so before anybody starts blasting me, just know that.
Yeah.
And I'm being 100% honest with you. That's what I seen. I didn't see a lot of reliability when I did pay attention.
True. And to go to Adam's point, I get it. We've been playing a lot of off safety, but ultimately what Gus Bradley wants to do is have a physical guy at the line that can get their hands on them and then fall off. I think we were limited on what we can do with that because the corners were so young and shit. We ran the risk of just getting ran right by. Perhaps, maybe. I'm not making excuses for the guy. I don't even want the guy to be our our DC. But what I'm also saying though, from that point, like I feel like you have to go and get needs first. I'm not saying that these, like I said last week, I'm not saying the guys that we re-signed are not important. But going into the offseason, I felt like the balance sheet had to properly affect what we needed first. And I felt like we needed corner first, then maybe pass rusher if you could find one at the right price. And if not, this draft was going to yield that opportunity. Because now I feel like we're in a coin flip still because we're going into the draft needing the same things. We got pick 15 and we got pick 46? Those are our first two picks, something like that. And we need the same three things. So you can put them whatever ranking you want to, but I would say corner, I would say edge, and I would say another receiver. So wherever you go, however you go, it's going to be fucking tough. Oh, we need a safety too.
Yeah, it don't look like Blackman's coming back.
Yeah, and so see that type of shit is the things that I struggle with because again in the draft you're putting a lot of stock in after that first round pick and maybe that second round pick, depending on where it is. You really, really have to dig deep and say, okay, we've done our homework, and we can put this third and fourth and fifth rounder on the field. I just feel like they're always going to be slightly projects. They're going to always kind of be projects. You know what I mean? And then we've had too many projects that we have not seen, promise from. And I think that's where I struggle with the draft concept. We personally, this ain't just, draft or free agency. This is our history. Like for everything that he's hit on, he's missed on a lot too. I mean, we can go back to the days of we taking Easton in the 4th round and we like, oh, he's got a cannon arm and he might have his opportunity. They let that man on the field for one interception, basically, and shut that shit down. And there was potential talks of people wanting to trade for him. And that
the bad thing is, I think he's in the XFL now.
Man, I don't know where the hell he's
or
at.
UFL.
But that's and I get it, man. People talking about Dallas Flowers. We can't forget what he did a couple of years ago. But even Dallas Flowers isn't come on, man. Like these are still guys we're reaching for. He's coming off as Achilles of all things.
He's not a marquee name, but he has tons of fucking potential.
Okay, man. Listen, we've dealt with Pierre Desir. We've dealt with Rocky Sin, Dallas fucking Flowers. Like we can go back to Greg Toller. Like, bro, I'm tired of this shit. Justin David, fucking all these randos, man. Like we can't keep doing this shit to ourselves. Nick Harper, Kelvin Hayden. Like, get the fuck no, man. We need. I mean, the corner that we've had in the history of the Colts. I won't say the history, but over the last 10 to 15 years that was even notable was Vontae Davis. And Vontae Davis was fucking locked down.
He was. Gilmore too now.
For a good couple. Yeah, but Gilmore, we got Gilmore. And I mean, he was good, but we got him. We didn't get Stephon Gilmore early Patriots years when it was like, yeah, ain't nothing. Gilly Lock. We didn't really get Gilly Lock. He was solid. He was solid.
We need that. Was it Micah Fitzpatrick or something out of Pittsburgh? A name like that, or
Minka Fitzpatrick,
and Jalen Ramsey. Those are the marquee names that know are shutting down.
Vontae Davis was a no kidding top 5 corner for like 2.5 years under our regime. When we made that trade from him to bring him up from Miami, he was a fucking dog still. I mean, a lockdown dude.
Luis said you're happy because you got your guy Flacco.
Come on, man. Stop. Chill out, bro. Like, that motherfucker. Shut up. Hey, shut up, Lewis. I'm not doing that. You're not about to get me off my game tonight. But I'll say this. Say this.
Challenge accepted, baby.
Okay, so listen, man. Like, here's the other problem that I have. Now, we've seen the clip of all the boys that re-signing. That's a great day. They all got their money. They deserve it, all this thing. And I'm not being this guy. I'm not being pessimistic. But they're all like dapping up, shaking hands, like, all right, man, it's time. It's time to do big things. It's time to start putting championships on the wall. Let's chill the fuck out, man. Like, some of y'all cats been there for 7 years, dog. Like, what the fuck y'all?
It is time though.
Okay, fine in theory, but y'all have seen the playoffs twice. Y'all have won one playoff game. Like, nothing about that says this core group is now ready to dominate. Come on, man. Okay, maybe I'm being a pessimist. Fuck.
I was gonna say, if you say you're not, you are. Just saying.
This team is not there. This team is not there. They're not there, bro. Look, I'm not gonna say stuff about Chris Ballard that is bad.
I'm not gonna say that you're 100% wrong, but I'm gonna say you're partly wrong on that.
Oh my god!
Only because the coaching that we have now,
man, is
different.
So
that
what?
Makes a huge difference in these guys.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does, Clyde.
Our defense was still assholes last year. They stunk, bro.
Yeah, hopefully they stop giving up 30 fucking yards in the middle when the game's on the line.
How, when that's your philosophy?
Well, hopefully they watched the damn Super Bowl and they saw Kyle Shanahan say, timeout, no, fuck that. We're not doing that kind of shit.
Okay.
And then they fired their DC because of it. Hopefully,
we didn't do that.
Hopefully that got everybody else thinking, yeah, we should probably watch Kyle Shanahan because he's pretty damn good.
Yeah, but he also loses all the big games he's been in.
He does, but he's good. He can get you there, but he can't finish the job.
Look, man.
But still, you see what I'm saying, though. So hopefully the entire NFL world seen that, and everybody's starting to question that type of scheme.
This is why I wonder if they're really being honest with themselves. Like I know how hard they work. I know they put in the effort, but do they ever go back and be like, "Yo, bro, we suck"? Like, and what
I hope so.
And what I mean by that is like they are truly evaluating. I get it. Players play, coaches coach. I'm not trying to start that type of controversy in our building. But I'm like, I feel like if I'm a captain, I have the right to be like, hey, coach, like, what the fuck, B? Like, why are we calling give up yard concepts and really just hoping to get lucky? That, like, I don't know if they really get that opportunity. I mean, I would think that they did, but I just don't understand how this is like the way. And again, you have the exact same players, and I get it. Another year, get better, maybe not.
I think they are. I think they've gotten better.
It's not that they were bad. I think them getting better doesn't really change the fact that we're still missing a piece. Like that's my whole point. We can get much better. But I mean, Zaire was out, if you want to call it recruiting, if you will. Hey, L'Jarius, hey, Quandary Diggs, what's up? Knowing, dog, we missing pieces. Yeah. And that's where we are still. And
well,
then
maybe that's the guy we need to ask that question to. Is like, hey, do you have an open door policy to where you can tell Coach Gus, like, hey, this shit ain't working. Let's go back to lockdown fucking man to man.
I know, but I don't think that ain't a real question we can ask. You know what I mean? Like,
sure we can.
Yeah, we can, but I'm not saying he's gonna even give us a 100% truth answer. Like that's in-house shit. I don't even feel comfortable asking questions like that. Like because I know they have a certain like cultivation of culture. Like you just don't air certain things. I mean, it was very very clear. Look at last year with Darius Leonard. With Shaq. It was very clear that there was fucking trouble between those two, right? And then it was made evident when, as he stands behind me, he was let go, and I still feel the way I feel about how I feel when it comes to how I feel about that. So I'll just leave that there.
I'm glad you're leaving it there because I don't want to go on with that one.
Yeah, man, but I mean,
I hate seeing grown men cry.
Well, whatever, bro. I guess that shit was ridiculous.
Hey, it hurt me too. I still got his helmet on my desk.
Yeah, it's unacceptable, man. But I mean, this is the thing. Okay. Because everybody's throwing comments in here talking about the free agents that, were picked up and in other places and guys we brought in, Mike Edwards, like, what does that do for us? I don't know. Maybe nothing. But we didn't sign him, but we talked to him at least. But my thing is when you're looking at pick 15, let's just stay there. Let's not have any optimism, or I'm not optimism, hypotheticals. Let's just stay there.
Okay.
We pick at 15. And I get it. There are tons of ways you can go. We're assuming Brock is still there. We're assuming Brian Thomas might be there. We're assuming Latu will be there. We're assuming, a bunch of people are there. You can only get
saying that wide receiver from LSU, Nieblers. Did I say that right?
Neighbors. He won't be there.
Yeah, but they're saying there's a chance if it goes this way versus that way.
Yeah, he won't be there.
No,
Brian Thomas
I don't
might
see it
be
either.
There. Yeah. But what I'm also saying, there's so many different ways you go. And so without addressing the needs in the draft, you find yourself having to slice the onion in such a way that is very hard to like really kind of like break down and swallow. And I know there's superstars at this, talking about Chris Ballard and his team, but it's like I feel like fuck, we need all 4 of them players. So what do we do? Like literally, we need all them players. We need the DE, we need the receiver. I don't think there's a safety maybe that high, but we definitely need shit. You can go interior line if you wanted to, bro. It's shit, man. Like we didn't address none of the needs, dog. None of them.
Adam J. Adam J. Who's the top 5 safeties and top 5 corners in this draft?
Man, look.
Hey, Adam J's our statistician. He'll pull it up on the chat real quick. But
that's the problem. See, this is the problem. And you can have it.
Hold on. Go ahead.
You are bringing Anthony Richardson back. So to me, you want to feed that monster. So you have to be able to find, to me, you should have found the corner in free agency. Okay, you brought all your dudes back. You brought another big boy on a defensive line. Maybe you go get a safety and you just say, okay, we're going to roll with this. Quiddy get better. Dio get better. Fine. But we're going to roll with, we got the safety. We got the corner in free agency. Now when the draft comes, we're not pressured to draft those things because that's still a building process for the young kid. I want to go receiver at 15. I want to have Anthony Richardson, like we've said so many times, with so many options. You give him Brian Thomas. Okay, you give him Brian Thomas. He has Michael Pittman. He has Josh Downs. He has JT. He has Alec Pierce. He has Jelani Woods. He has, the rest of the tight ends, all of those guys. Like, I want that because you have to make your quarterback you have to create the atmosphere of success for the quarterback. So don't waste these young years because in a blink of an eye, you're going to be trying to extend the boy for $70 million a season. But okay, go for it.
So looking at what you just said about the draft, about free agency.
Okay.
You're not wrong.
Of course I'm not. I'm Clyde.
You're a big head motherfucker. But if you're the GM, that's the way you get to go because you're calling the shots. But
I know what you're
to
saying.
me, going the other way doesn't make that way wrong either. It's just their way. So am I okay with getting all this young talent out of the draft? I am, especially when it works out. I'm okay when it works out, like a Zaire Franklin. I mean, that guy was drafted, what, 7th round?
7th round. Him and
put
EJ,
on the special teams, kicked everybody's ass, and now he's our starting middle linebacker.
Okay, pause that before you continue. Who got time to wait that long, though? He only became a starter 2 seasons ago. So he stayed stashed on special teams except for some brief work here and there when somebody needed a breather for 5 fucking seasons. He already had an extension prior to getting this one. Who's got time for that? That's insane. Like, we don't have time to build no more. We should be done building.
But at 15 and 46, you're not drafting those type of players that need a little extra time to develop to what they become.
Yeah.
At 15, at 46, you're expecting them to be day one.
Okay, well,
your homework better be right. Your scouting team better be right. You know what I'm saying? All this has to be right.
Hey, man.
Or it makes your way look the best.
Rocky Sin was 34, bro. So I don't care what you're talking about right now. He was like 34, dog.
You make me spit this damn water out.
Hey, man. Hey, man. Like, these are just the facts. I'm only here to provide factual statements. He was 30 fucking 4, bro. So do with that what you will. He needed all the development in the world, all of it. And I don't want to keep drafting the needs. I want to draft accessories. ooh, we got this nice shiny piece now to go along with this. That's what I want to do in the draft, because if you're still drafting needs, like I said before, like, you are not a good team. You're not a good team. If you stay in the top 10 of drafting, you're not a good team.
I'm
If
sorry,
you
but
live there.
every year and every team are going to have needs to be filled. And you either fill them
Yeah.
through free agency or you fill them through the draft.
Okay.
Doesn't mean one way is better than the other.
Yeah, absolutely it does. That's
No.
insane. That's insane, Pat. That's insane.
Okay, so you're going to bring Sneed in. He wants $23 million a year.
All right, watch this. Watch
So
this.
that's two players you're not re-signing that you've
Fine.
already invested 4 years in.
Cool. You know, I can scratch off two of them names right now and still would have been living happy. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't even fucking blinked. Now, do you want me to tell you who those guys are, or like?
Yeah, go ahead. It's gonna make you happy. Go ahead.
It's not that it's gonna make me happy,
You're
but
smiling already.
no, you're not gonna turn me out to be an asshole. But
You're definitely an asshole.
look, bro.
But you're my asshole, so I'm gonna keep.
I love Big Grove, man, but guess what? That's one. That's one.
Now you're gonna get a lot of hate mail.
Yeah, it's fine.
You're getting a lot.
Fine. If we already had a plan to bring in this big boy, he's a starter. He's been a starter. Dave's been a starter. He wasn't like no fucking bum.
No.
So shit. Okay, get him cheaper. Fine.
And that
Love you, Grove.
6'7", 360 pounds. I'm gonna give that dude some change if he is a bum.
Especially if he's sitting right next to fucking another 6'7", 300-pounder that's got real talent and default. Be a bum all night.
Yeah, come on.
Tyquan Lewis, hey man, I know you're a great glue guy. Guess what? Could have saved him a couple bucks. Rigo could have saved him a couple bucks.
You wouldn't have brought Rigo back?
Listen, man, it's a punter, bro. Like, they're a dime a dozen. I'm not
but it's $7 million.
But that could have counted toward the cap we needed to fuel the deal. Like, all I'm saying, man, like, I am drafting the absolute accessories. I am going to get, when I say needs, I'm talking about like glaring holes. Because what I'm trying to tell you is, drafting where we're drafting, yes, you could still get very viable, good players. But everybody's going to say first things first, development. And if we're just going to keep playing with the words of build and development, we're going to be here forever. At some point, you got to be like I need to hear Chris Ballard say confidently, this is a 12-win team. I have put that together. Anything below that is unacceptable. Now, does that mean they're going to go out and win 12? No, but that means that they have evaluated, they have taken that core group, whoever they decided that was, and added to it in free agency with the vital pieces they need, and now they're drafting accessories. I have yet to hear Chris say that. We're still building, because he says you got to build it. Like, bro, you are in a very unique spot where most GMs don't get to do what you've done. You have a losing record. You're 54-60-1 over 8. You have only been to the playoffs twice, only won one playoff game. You've went through 5-6 different quarterbacks. Like, you're in a very unique situation. Most GMs ain't getting to build it, and this is the outcome. So that's all I'm saying. Like, call it what you want. And again, that's no knock. Love the guy. Absolutely love the guy as a person. But I'm like, that's what we have to evaluate. Because if we're always going to talk about it's a business, then that's the business part of it too.
It's very much so part of the business.
And I'm damn sure not going to, compare him to Grigson, despite Grigson having more success in here and there. I know he had luck for all those years. Chris only had him for a year. But what I'm getting at is we got rid of his ass. And we have not got rid of Chris. So,
well, and there's the key. Grigson didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Okay, fine.
And he ran this franchise into the ground.
Excellent.
Bauer knows what he's doing.
Not denying that. But here you're also So if Frank Wright, this is my problem. If Frank Wright put so much value on the metrics of the game and the analytics, I should say, he does that when it comes to the finances and the budget. A tad too much for me. Again, I don't want every free agent. I don't think you can be successful by getting every free agent. But you have to go in there and you almost got to say, almost like what they said when it came to Anthony Richardson in the draft last year, that's my guy no matter what. So you got to come into this shit knowing like we've done our homework, we evaluated, we scouted. That's our guy. So does that mean negotiations still won't take place? Fuck no. Of course you're still going to negotiate, but you're going to there's a point where you got to sell out. Like, look, man, maybe we can't meet your exact number, but this is where we at, and we're talking about at this point, nickels and dimes off. Because you got to understand is that, and maybe we're shooting from the hip and saying that this guy is too important. And I'll be the first to say that. But over these 8 seasons, almost, there has been a free agent or two that has had a successful run somewhere, and he could have been a Colt. Like I am not going to sit here and try to go back and unpeel all of the free agents that could have been Colts. But in 8 whole seasons, I'm trying to tell you right now, there's not 8 years of complete failures from all of the people that came up to be free agents. That's just not real.
No,
there's some valuable dudes.
We got Gilly in free agency. I can't name everybody that Ballard signed in free agency.
No. I'm talking about the guys that signed other places. Because the first thing we'll say is,
you mean our guys that signed other places?
No. I'm saying in general, when free agency opened over these last 8 years, there were always top tier, big name dollar guys. I know that the success will tell you that, hey, sometimes these dudes get overpaid and they're not worth the dollar. But I'm telling you, if we just broke it down and was able to go year by year and then look at where these guys are and what the impact they've had on teams, we're going to find some of those big dollar dudes had great careers when they got that contract.
Yeah.
We're going to find it.
Give me a percent, though. What would you estimate that percentage of those people making an impact on those teams?
Oh, I have no fucking idea, Pat. Like it's fucking how many players in the NFL? Okay. There's hundreds of players in there.
Then just go 50-50.
Well, no, that's because that's crazy.
Is it higher? Is it higher or lower?
It's probably lower, but there's reasons for that.
Then that's my point.
No, that's skewed.
You want to make a gamble on somebody, pay them big money. To me, that's the fastest way to lose your job as a GM.
Yeah, but that's a gamble, and it's skewed because the reasons behind that is, like you mentioned, like last year, the Jets is the highest. Well, the Jets organization as a whole, they're just adding dudes because they have money. The Jags for all those years, they're just adding guys because they have money. What I'm saying is he had built a team with core dudes already. The Quentin Nelsons, the Shaq Leonards, and Kenny Moores and other guys have been here for years.
Yeah.
But I'm saying now you bring in that same addition that maybe went to the Jags when they had nothing, and then maybe went to the Jets when they had nothing. Of course, their production will not look the same because they don't have anything. That guy just benefited from getting all the money because they had it. They didn't have anything in place. Chris, I'm saying two things can be true. Chris has put things into place. Absolutely. He has drafted his ass off. Absolutely. And I would say more of his picks have been successful than they have been unsuccessful. But what I'm saying is with having a core team and then bringing in some of these key guys to fill into those needs, this team, in my opinion, would have had much more trajectory towards success. We wouldn't be below 500. We wouldn't have only seen the playoffs twice and all of that. That's what I'm saying. His reluctance to add to what he's built in the draft is why some of these guys now are either already in another team, or in a case of Shaq, their career might be over. But
I've seen him sign. He actually signed with Philly, but they didn't have to show any details to it.
Did he re-sign with Philly? Maybe. Yeah. I hope he did. I hope he's not done. But that's my point.
Something like it, but I didn't see any details over it.
Okay.
At all. So
that's all I'm saying, man.
Don't say my sources
No, I think I seen that too, but I was unsure if that was like what happened last year or something. I
Because
don't know.
you're my source, and I'll tell everybody right now. If I come out and I say I got a source, it's Clyde.
You're horse shit. You got way more intel onto some insights than I can ever. But you know, like my opinion. Now, if your source is my opinion, then you're probably right. You call that what you want it. But I'm just saying, for me, man, like I just really wish, and hindsight can always be 2020 and have you thinking, oh yeah, this could have happened and that, and that's just living hypotheticals. But in all actuality, like I said, people will bash Chris Ballard and just say he's cheap, and that's the end of this discussion. Whenever,
there's been a couple comments already about bargain Ballard and shit like that.
but
in our chat tonight.
Facts. But when I've talked about him, my frustrations are that he's done such a incredible job drafting players that people were probably overlooking or said he reached for and whatever else, and they played their asses off. And when you were, in my opinion, were like, I won't even say right there, like, oh man, add a piece and we're in the Super Bowl next year. But when you've been right there in the sense of, hey man, we lost a couple close games and we truly needed this type of player, this type of impact, and that game goes different. A lot of that's been lost in the secondary. A lot of that's been lost because we couldn't get off the field on third down. A lot of that's been lost early on because receivers couldn't get open. A lot of that's been lost, you name it, because hell, we didn't have a quarterback. So you got to be able to add to it, because if not, you're just building. Like, can you imagine if your builder was like, we're going to build your house in stages, Pat. And in all honesty, the entirety of your mortgage, all 30 years, will be doing something for 30 years. She's like, what the fuck kind of plan is this? Like, you can't build my house for 30 years, bro. Like, it's insane. Like, I'm paying you mortgage and you're still talking about, yeah, well, year 2, that's when we'll start working on this. And year 7, we should be up to that. You're like, no, fuck that.
Well taken. Point well taken.
Build my house in 8 months, a year, whatever it takes based on building costs and prices, and then I'm gonna pay you mortgage going forward. We're ready to see the mortgage being paid for. This house should have been built, constantly updating. You add new carpet, you add new flooring, you paint here and there, you change the room around, put some new aesthetics in it. Do that, but don't be talking about you still building your house and you already paying the mortgage. That's unacceptable. I can't. I'm just not going to be able to do that. Just my thoughts on that, man. So let's get to, let's spend a few minutes and get to some of these comments, because I was kind of reading them. Sammy, if you're in the background, throw up anything that looks like a question if there is one. Okay, here we go. What if we trade 15 for a cornerback somewhere? In all honesty, Tyler, I don't feel like that is an option for us, because nobody else is really talking about moving a corner. Whether compensation or not was ever realistic when it comes to the numbers for Sneed, I have no idea. But for me, honestly, at 15, you got to draft now. That's how I feel. I don't give a shit what you take. You got to draft now. But maybe you talk to Xavier Howard. Does he still have something in the tank? I don't know. Maybe give him a 1-year deal and see what it looks like. I don't fucking know.
What about Gilly? I saw the Cowboys let him
People
go.
keep saying that. No.
I'm asking you. I'm not saying, I'm asking.
Because he's 33 fucking years old, and we need somebody to be impactful. Gilly had his moments in Dallas, but then Gilly had his moments in Dallas. There were some games where he got chewed the fuck up and spit out. And I just take it when he was on our team. He had some great moments against solid to average guys. We went to fucking Minnesota. Justin Jefferson made Gilly look like, hey, buddy, you're a couple seasons past locking. You're just Gilly. So love the guy, but no, at a 33-year-old cornerback, and that comes in, and now all of a sudden we're better in the secondary. I don't think so. He can bring a lot of knowledge to the game, a lot of, helping the young guys out. But if we need him to still be impactful, that ain't where I want to see that. So that's my thoughts.
All right, Sammy, next one.
Come on, Cody. Next.
What are you doing that to us, Sammy?
Next. Okay.
Chase Young going to the Saints for $13 million. Something I feel like we could have definitely looked at, even though he did just have some kind of surgery. Yeah, I agree with this one. I would have loved to have him in here.
Guess who don't? I overshot on this. So when I actually looked at him over his entire 4-year career, it's been very, very average. I know that it seemed like a huge move for San Francisco last year and was going to be one of the things that put them over the top, but they didn't bring him back for a reason, and it wasn't money. The output wasn't there. Like, I don't want to bring too much of my Michigan versus Ohio State hate into this, but I honestly feel like, like Ohio State players, though they get drafted at a uncanny clip, them and Alabama players, the difference is Ohio State guys, in my opinion, never really evolve. However they looked in college is probably the best they're going to ever look in the NFL. It's just because Ohio State for a long time was the SEC team of the North. And they just drafted they recruited better athletes than any other Big Ten team. So when you play against Big Ten guys that are traditionally slower, not as athletic, of course they look amazing. But when they come to the league, man, that shit fizzles out. Those kids, I don't want to paint a broad brush, but CJ Stroud was not the first Ohio State quarterback to get drafted or the first Ohio State quarterback to be in a Heisman candidate race or actually win a Heisman like some of them did. But why is he the first one that actually looks like he's solid? I mean, a dog shines or the sun shines on a dog ass every here and there. I just don't believe in Ohio State players. And I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is that, but his daddy is also Marvin Harrison. So that's not the same. So my thoughts on that. I don't want to go off tangent. Okay, what Carvey say?
He says, where'd it go? So do you think we trade up or down? Honestly, Carvey, I think we stay right at 15.
Yeah, I'm not messing with Carvey again. Last year, he talked me into some shit, and then we end up drafting Anthony Richardson. And I remember how adamant I was about that. I don't think that either way that went, we actually could see either of our sides because, of course, I want the kid to be successful. But I think that if he would have played a whole year, there would have been his bumps and bruises because he had some things to work on. I just didn't see him as a lottery pick until he went to the fucking combine, and then he became a lottery pick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is what it is. Who played Michigan twice? You talking about CJ Stroud? We beat his ass, too. Hail to the victors. He never beat Michigan. Beat his ass. 15-0, baby. What else we got? Who else got something? Chop Robinson would be a great piece to the defense if we had a chance to pick him. Okay, another Penn State guy. Absolutely a dog. The issue is, again, we find ourselves in these spots, man. Like, I feel like at 15, you can throw 15 names at 15. You can only select one. So, again, when you're in this, I need different pieces, and you have not addressed those, and you're coming into the season with the same, like literally coming into the season with the same team, Pat. I've never seen nothing like this. With the exception of Julian Blackman and then Zach Moss and maybe a couple handful of others. We're literally, after spending giant dollars coming into the season thus far with the same fucking roster. That's incredible, actually. It's like, actually, I would love to see somebody who likes to look up history. I would love to see what other free agency off period did a GM sign this many of his own guys in one sitting. I would love to see that. Because
didn't Harry do it after they won the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Tampa Bay a couple years ago.
Maybe. I don't know. I would just love to see.
I think he re-signed like 98% of the people that was on that Super Bowl team.
Okay.
Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
It's been done.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. But I would love to see like the comparison of what GM has done this. All right. Tyler got a good question. hypothetically, what was our record with AR last year? He's speaking to me now. I know what I said. And that was just me being a fan guy. I think I had us at 10 wins before the season started. But I honestly think Minshew's experience won more games than what AR's talent could have won, depending on who we were playing and where
I
we were
disagree.
playing.
I think it was all Shane.
Well, he's fine. He's calling the plays, but Shane ain't throwing no passes, bro.
No,
Like
he's not.
And so what I'm saying is I'm not calling Minshew a perfect passer by any means, but Minshew had a pretty damn good lead coming into that season turnover or TD to turnover ratio, right? So what I'm saying is though he made some bonehead plays at certain times, he had experience. We were going to have to live with AR either being CJ Stroud as a fucking ceiling because he was setting the bar so high. And I don't know if I'm not saying that he couldn't have went through the whole season and not compared himself like 1A, 1B, but I'm also saying like we knew coming out CJ Stroud was a more pure passer than Anthony Richardson was. So we were going to have to live through. I mean, he ended the season at what 50 something percent in his 4 games.
Yeah, sounds right. Sounds right.
Yeah. So I feel
But
like
I don't have it right in front of me, so I can't remember shit anymore.
I feel like the ceiling for him would have been 59, 60%. So if we translate that to wins, honestly, I think we might have just lost 1 or 2 more. So instead of going 9-8, we could have been either 8 and 9, that equals 17, or 7-10. Just my thought.
Yeah, that's just a question we just won't.
Yeah.
We won't know, and it's pure speculation.
Yeah, I mean, because CJ Stroud played out of his mind. Probably had a better offensive core than us. Because I mean, JT and all that, but JT missed some games, and he only won 9 games or 10 games because he beat us. So he was 10 games. So I mean, I don't want to compare him directly, but I'm saying like he broke the rookie record for passing and everything else. So I mean, then there's that. I don't know. Oh yeah, but what type of player do we have? Yeah, the guy stopped to help people with flat tires when he had just had his surgery. He went to somebody's house for their birthday. Like character wise, if you want to talk about what Chris Ballard does well, and we have maybe, to include me, negated some of that. He's definitely know how to pick a character guy. I mean, last year was the first year that we had dudes on our team that were really getting in trouble doing some crazy shit, gambling and I don't know what the fuck McKenzie did or whatever. I really wanted to know because we never found out what they did to get him and Sergio Brown. We really never found out what they truly did to get kicked off the team. But to start the season, losing having Isaiah Rodgers last year would have been fucking monstrous.
Very, very
monstrous, bro. That would have been with what we were dealing with as growing pains. And even though he's a smaller type corner and all the other shit, that would have been supremely helpful. I'm not saying that we wouldn't still be talking about we need a veteran corner, but having him last year and him still being on the team now with what we had would have been a completely different room. Like I believed in that guy. He was that solid.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
absolutely.
That fucking definitely was a kick in the nuts. Do we get 10 wins next season? The draft depends heavily on that, Louis. If we get offensive weapons, yes. I think that Shane Steichen's offense can continuously compete even if our defense is giving up points. We gave up a ton of points last year, but we were still in a lot of games, and that was with limited offense. See what I'm saying? So if
coaching matters.
Yeah, if Anthony Richardson comes back and he's able to spin it like he did, and we put a Brian Thomas next to Michael Pittman, and we got a Josh Downs, and you already know what we got in the tight end room, and we got a healthy, JT, and we're running the RPO, and we're passing the win, or what is it? Pass the score and running the win. Like, yeah, bro, we can win 10 or more.
I think so too.
So it all depends on how I hate to use the word, build it. Because we're still fucking building it. Jesus Christ.
And that's the thing with
Yeah.
teams, you're always building. You're always plugging holes. You're always replacing somebody. It's just the way, it's the nature of the beast.
So Adam J says the D lines of Houston and Jacksonville make me nervous. I'm gonna be honest, bro. I really am. So last year, not Jacksonville. Last year, Houston, I forget their guy, they let him go, but he had like 12 and a half sacks. They bring in Daniil Hunter, he had 16 and a half sacks. I know what Will Anderson is on the other side. And they bring in Danico Autry, who's a bit older, but he's played for now damn near every team in the AFC South. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's formidable, but it's still not TJ Watt that we got to deal with twice a year. It's still not Myles Garrett that we got to deal with twice a year. I feel like our guys can hold their own. I feel like we can definitely be successful. The issue is to beat. If we're gonna constantly have issues up front, nothing's gonna happen positive for us. But if we have a dynamic offense and we can really do what we want on offense, I don't give a shit who we show up or who we play every week.
Yeah.
So yeah, they spend a lot of money.
This new O-line coach they brought in can really get them guys firing on all cylinders.
All right, Tyler said, how's this gonna work when I'm gone? I'm just gonna have to be up ass early in the morning. Let me see where I'm going in the world. Let me look at the time right now. I tell you, I think it's 8 hours difference. So let's take a look at that real quick, and then I'll be able to tell you. So
I'll tell you, if he can't be on because he's out playing soldier, me and Acosta will hold it down.
All right, so it is. So we started this, and what time is it right now? About an hour ago, because we're about to jump off.
Yep.
So where I'm going, it is currently 8 hours ahead. It is 4 a.m. in that place. So I'm gonna have to just figure out how to be up at 3 a.m. and do this. That's gonna show my dedication to this. So I say this: if I'm up at 3 fucking a.m. going forward in a month or so, guess what? Also better happen. I better have 300 new followers on YouTube. So that's the deal. We shut this shit down, or you give me some more subs. I don't know. I don't care who it is, and I'm not talking about Subway sandwiches. I don't need that. I need subs to the YouTube. So please go sub. All right, Adam J. All right, everybody that was here. Thank you for a great talk. I got to get ready for another podcast. Looking forward to hanging out with the Horseshoe Mob here in a minute.
Yeah, I think them guys are trying to steal you from us.
No,
I'm gonna be having a talk with old Josh here soon.
They're not trying to steal me. Stop it, man. We just have a good time. That's all. But Pat, what's your closing remarks before we get out of here? Don't say build it.
I wasn't going to.
What's up, Jeff? That's my boy Jeff Stam. What's up, man? Go ahead.
Your final thoughts, just there's still a lot of off season left. Let it play out, baby. Let it play out.
Pat,
it's not in our hands.
We got $10 left.
Regardless if you like it, love it, or hate it, it's not in our hands.
Pat is the ultimate fanboy, by the way. So there's
right.
that.
I refuse to let anything in life bring in a negative veil over my head.
Oh God,
I won't
turn
do it
into life.
I won't do it.
He's about to get all sentimental and shit.
No,
all right,
I'm just telling you, it's more about that than being just a fanboy.
I got you.
Okay. All right, man. Well, look, this is what I'll say. My closing remarks is
see you next Tuesday, Tressa.
First one of the night.
Teresa got the first Omaha. I didn't even know that button was working tonight.
Oh God, look at Carray. He being a fanboy too. I'm talking about just believe in blue and build it. Okay, fine. Do all the things. But again, unless you're gonna be a 30-year carpenter, at some point you got to be done with the build.
That is a hell of an analogy, though.
You got to be done with the
Absolutely.
build, bro. You could go to Lowe's and Home Depot and do projects all day long, but the build itself, I'm not waiting on you to build my house for 30 years, Patrick. That is my final that is my final remark. Okay. So until the next one, man, y'all take it easy. We out of here. Sammy, take us home.
Peace.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.